888-957-9570, what you want the Niners to do with Christian McCaffrey tonight. The national debate shows are all over this right now that he is reportedly going to play, and are the 49ers making a mistake? What do you think? I think, A, the fact that it's an injury and we don't know how it feels, and B, sure, do teams push players sometimes? Of course they do. Of course they do. But if Christian likes it, the 49er team doctors like it, I have very little reason to say, oh, you guys are wrong. And if you think the reason that they're wrong is that, come on, it's just Minnesota. They got a losing record. You could win this one without him and Trent and Debo and it's like, are you kidding me? This is an NFL football game. They're a road favorite on a Monday night. That usually does not fare very well.
Right.
You got to go get this game. You cannot flick this game. So if you think he should be out, more power to you. But if for my money, don't use that reason. I said this earlier. The list of reasons why Christian should sit tonight are this. Number one, he is not healthy enough to contribute. End of list. That's it.
Well, that's your list.
That's my list.
And my list would include the potential for a re-injury that would cost you more games than just tonight. And we don't know how bad it is. We don't know. I haven't seen the MRI. I'm assuming you haven't either.
I have not.
And, depending on how he's able to get through the game, if he does get hurt and it's the same injury and now he's out 4 to 6 weeks, then it turns out that it was a miscalculation. Sensation. I'll say it. And that's something that they're willing to risk. And it's McCaffrey who's making the call. It's McCaffrey and the medical team.
Well, right,
and if the medical team says, it's a small tear, and if you feel like you can play through it, then we'll sign off on it. And if he says, yeah, I want to play, then he plays. And that's the way this goes.
Yeah, but you do have to sometimes save a player from himself. The players always want to play. The players always want to play. They always think they're going to be okay. I have no choice but to have faith in the 49ers medical staff with regard to making this decision. Let's go to the overweight lover, Heavy D, in Richmond. Hey, Heavy, what's going on? You're on Willard and Dibs.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me okay?
We got you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I am just calling to say that I'm of the opinion that this would probably be a very poor idea to make Christian play. I've come to that conclusion. I spent 31 years in Bay Area as a paramedic. These injuries are generally sustained by blunt trauma to the abdominal area, and they can be aggravated by continuous, more trauma. The 49ers doctors say that it's okay for him to play, but, I wouldn't say that they're a non-biased source of information. I would hate to see anything happen to Christian. I guess I'm a little more vested in this. I'm an 88 Cardinal, and I really, really enjoyed watching him at Stanford, and he's one of my favorite guys. But I think that it would be better off to just play it safe and let him sit. I would hate to aggravate this anymore and turn what could be a small thing into a big thing.
Heavy, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Listen, it's not that I don't get it. I just figure what we're actually talking about is the obvious risk-reward that goes with any football game, and how much bigger is this one versus all of the other players, who, by the way, know this as well, and I think you all do. They're all playing hurt all the time. The NFL players aren't showing up today being like, dude, I feel amazing. No. They're getting treatment round the clock, getting ready for this.
It's different, though, being hurt and being injured.
If there's a tear, of course there is. I get that. I get that. But that, to me, is the question. How much bigger is this risk than all of the other risks, or just the every down assumed risk that somebody who gets 20-plus touches a game is going to experience? And what if I said it this way? Like, you could wait 2 weeks, and do we know that it's going to be 100% by then? And
who knows?
This might be like there are nagging things that you play through as a professional athlete. But you just do.
What Heavy D was saying is, the blunt force and the trauma that a running back goes through is going to be more likely to happen than the blunt force if you're, an offensive guard, or if you're a defensive player where you can actually you're imparting the blow. If you're a running back, you're more susceptible to just getting tackled or hit when you have the football, as opposed to another position where you'd be less likely to get hit in that area.
Ron in Walnut Creek is next up here on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Ron, what are you doing?
Hey, guys, I'm actually visiting Walnut Creek. I'm actually from Houston, believe it or not. Don't hate me. I know y'all don't like the Astros, which is totally fine.
I have no problem with the Astros at all, by the way. I think it's crazy that people are still talking about it. But anyway, go ahead,
I got a bigger
Ron.
problem with Houston in general, but
that's different.
The city's too big.
I shouldn't have even said anything about Houston. I should have just stuck it. I'm from Walnut Creek. But, honestly, your team is 5-1. You're playing somebody that's 2-5. Even if you win this game, what are you getting out of it? There's no and for a playoff picture. It's not a conference game. Just because even if you lose this game, what?
Okay.
You're still top 3 team in the NFC regardless.
Yeah, so Ron, I'm glad you called, and with all due respect, it's because this is the take that I don't understand. First of all, it is a conference game. Minnesota and the 49ers do happen to play in the
not divisional,
in the same conference. I understand that's probably what he meant. But this is the one that I don't get. This whole if you're 5-2, that's cool. You're like in it. No. You don't want to be in it. Every game is precious to me. They're all precious. This is the best team in football. They need to have the 1 seed. They don't want to play in Philadelphia in January. All of these things, any one of these games could be the one that you look back on and go, that's the one. That's the one where we ended up in the 2-hole or the 3-hole where we didn't want to end up being. Any one of them.
Well, it happened last year with the loss to Chicago and then Jimmy G wandering out of the back of the end zone.
And Atlanta and Marcus Mariota, all of that stuff. Like, just because it's not some big-time opponent does not mean that it can't completely damage your season.
Right, but
it's a huge game.
You could also have your season damaged by playing Christian McCaffrey and having him get hurt.
Of course.
And so you never know. And I do think that you treat every game with the import that you should. It's 1 of 17, and there's no one game that counts more than the other. And I know tiebreakers, certain games count for more when it comes time to decide the division and whatnot, but every other game, they all count the same. So you can look at Philadelphia on December 3rd and think, well, that's going to be where the home field is decided. But if you fall behind them by 2 games, then by the time you play Philadelphia, that game won't be the determinant.
Exactly right. So on the 95.7 The Game Twitter feed, a poll is up. How do you want the Niners to handle Christian McCaffrey and the oblique injury tonight? Play him full workload, play him limit touches, or sit him? You can vote on that. We'd love your responses.